must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is. It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are deviant and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth in the security, governance, and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers, do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa. The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Way back in 1998, the late Secretary General of the United Nations, by name Kofi Annan, thought of an idea, brought an idea of saying the only way to bring world order, where crimes committed that are not punishable in local courts, local countries, regional courts, could be taken to an international crimes court. The Rome Statute and Rome Treaty of 1998 July was an offspring of already cooked DSGE intelligence system mechanism to keep Africa under check. Up to date, the French government pays 70% of the salaries of the International Criminal Court, from the porter to the judge to the prosecutor and the rest of the other people. This was a project of Kofi Annan and the Kofi Annan Foundation, followed by George Soros as an accomplice of Kofi Annan, brought in by Luis Moreno Campo and the entire system of the West, some countries in the West, to keep check on African countries that did not agree with the policies of the French and to their policies of Western culture. The International Criminal Court Chief Prosecutor Luis Moreno Campo agreed in all this that yes, he has been picking money, extra monies, and we followed the story together with my group in France, powerful investigators in France who worked together with me, and we found out that, truly speaking, Luis Moreno Campo, Fernandez Gomedi, the former judge, the president of the International Criminal Court, laundered money, some coming from American banks themselves. This evidence was put in the ICC, in the case of Bashir versus the chief prosecutor, I filed an application which I still have and which I'm going to publicize again so that people can know that I was right. I've been vindicated because the American friends now have found that my credibility is real, that I was right when I stood up to say this court is corrupt. This court loaned us money, $17 million of United States money, loaned through Bahamas, through New York banks, back to Ocampo's personal assistant, by then called Fernandez Gomedi Silvia, who later on rose to the ranks of becoming the president of International Criminal Court. It has taken us time, energy, efforts, resources to investigate the corruption scandal that have rocked the International Criminal Court. Why should African countries continue to be in the ICC, yet even the superpowers like America are saying no, we have enough courts to try our own people? Viewers, it has taken Americans over 20 years to listen to our voices when we told Rainberger in Nairobi that this court is a corrupt court.
Today, on the eve of September the 11th, I want to deliver a clear and unambiguous message on behalf of the President of the United States. The United States will use any means necessary to protect our citizens and those of our allies from unjust prosecution by this illegitimate court. We will not cooperate with the ICC. We will provide no assistance to the ICC, and we certainly will not join the ICC. We will let the ICC die on its own. After all, for all intents and purposes, the ICC is already dead to us.
A case of the Kenyan people. These cases in Kenya, the chief prosecutor called Fatou Bensouda put serious statements at the end of the cases, discharge and termination. In legal language, these cases pose a very serious threat in the future. What the people of Kenya can do, and they should do, is today to wrap up the work envelope. Because until this envelope is sealed, thrown in Indian Ocean, the chief prosecutor in the future will come and look for that envelope, use it to incriminate people again. It brings me back to the situation. America is sealing its journey out of the ICC. Why do you wait? Why don't you take this opportunity to seal your journeys out of the ICC? America is quitting, warning that it cannot no longer be a party to such an obnoxious court, a court that has no powers, that talks from this side and vomits from the other side, a court that cuts and pastes evidence, a court that buys witnesses, a court that incites incentives, gives incentives to witnesses of a passport and a relocation, then you tell lies about people. A court that sentences you as per the words there. Why should you leave a country that has a jury that checks on what the judges would do, the excesses of judges, and go to a country, a court that has no jury? Time has come for Africa to think. Do we need this court? Does Africa need this court? Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Europe. Good morning, America. Good morning, Australia. Good morning, China, Russia. Good morning, South America. Good morning, my continent of Africa. How are you? Good afternoon, maybe in Australia. She knows more of the timing. Good morning in Europe. Wherever you are on our satellite, we are live from Nairobi and beamed through Germany, Berlin to the world. We now cover the whole of Africa, North Africa, South Africa, West Africa, the Horn of Africa. Those in Mogadishu, enjoy, talk to us, listen to us, give suggestions. Now you are covered on our satellite system. When you see us coming, just come in. Press the button and enjoy. Wherever you are in Mogadishu, Eritrea, in the Red Sea, Saudi Arabia, all Ugandans, Kenyans, Tanzanians, Africans who are there, please tune to this television station. It is now on the television digital platform that can reach absolutely in all corners of the world. And if you have a free-to-air view, you have something to advertise. Advertise with us. We can sell your commodities. We can give you the market, the regional markets. Don't concentrate on your television alone. We want to advertise regionally. And all these television stations are struggling to do it now. We are already there on the platform. We simply need your advert. We can look at the terms. Our rates are not very bad. And you will be there. You don't need to struggle for commodities that you produce in your country when you can't sell them. You sell to their country and they buy and they leave it there. But we want you to sell them in Canada, in UK, in Yugoslavia, in China, in Russia, in South America, Argentina, where Mr. Morey Ocampo comes from. We want everybody to enjoy your products. So talk to us, contact us on +254 793. Woof, the number goes on. 795 638 145. Nairobi, Kenya. Talk to me. I will listen. Talk to us. We shall listen. Engage us. This morning, the Good Morning Show is planked in 3 categories, 4. The first one, we want to look at what the Chief Justice talked in United Kingdom. And why did he talk about it in the United Kingdom? Why hasn't he raised this matter in Kenya itself with the president? The implications of such a statement. Is the Chief Justice still annoyed with the 2 men who are leading this country? Those are the implications. Because his statements outside a country means he's calling in the outside country to watch. It can also cut off investment for most of the people investing in Africa, in Kenya. So I am on it today, this morning. With me is none other than Miriam Ogutu. I'd forgotten about Miriam, I'm sorry, but I will not forget what has happened. So thank you very much, Miriam. Miriam Ogutu is an expert, is our anchor here. She's done it. We always do it every morning. She has now become a partner, a very close ally in things that shape Africa.
Africa, yes, indeed.
Yes. Thank you very much, Miriam. Let's see the topics.
Yes, indeed. And what we are going to look at this morning, a Chief Justice appeals to regime changes in Oxford, and then who is weak in governance in Kenya. And then later on top of the hour, we'll have the African news headlines. We look at the latest from the continent, and in our Diaspora Dispatches, we look at is constitutionalism breaking down in Africa. This has been a matter of contention when it comes to the matters constitution, and how is it that our leaders in Africa choose to apply this very rule of law. in terms of governance and leadership in Africa. So those are just some of the topics that we have in store for you. And the speech by the Chief Justice in Oxford over the weekend. So which part are you having a problem with? The speech that he made, or the fact that
everything
that he made it out?
I have it. Me, I'm one of the chief critics of the Chief Justice. That's one.
Self-proclaimed.
No, not self-proclaimed. I am. He knows.
Yes.
Two, I refused to go to London last weekend because of the two gentlemen in London. It's not only them. Another group of Mafikizolos were there. Traitors. They were in Chatham House.
Can we name them or not today?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Raila one is part of the Mafikizolo group as far as Pan-Africanism is concerned. Tendai Biti, Mafikizolo number 2. Besije 3. I'm naming for you. You can see people, apart from Raila is not a Mafikizolo. He's a straightforward guy, but he leans too much on NGOs. I'm honest. And for me, some people don't know. They think I lie. I don't lie. I have a disagreement with the elder when it comes to international NGOs performing their bad things in Africa. He doesn't condemn them. Tendai Biti of Zimbabwe was there giving a speech. Now, on this top of these NGOs, we have added a Mafikizolo called David Maraga. Straight talk. Why do you leave your country and then go and address imperialists? The group that was I live in London. I live in the United Kingdom. 34 years. There's nowhere Maraga knows who better than me. What happens in that country? I've watched trains, swept trains to study in that country. Have lived in bad conditions, good conditions in that country. For you to leave your country and go and mama huko, instead of sorting the problem here, you are not an elder to me. Maraga's speech at Oxford is just an incitement for the hardliner civil society. Did you see who was in the audience? I got the clip, I'm playing it later on. In the audience, Jeffrey Smith, Johnny Carsons, look at those. All these guys are there. They followed. Maina Kiai, all of them. Men who used to have no house, they have houses because they teach, they talk, they tell lies about Kenya in order to be paid by international agencies. Maraga has become a puppet of these people. If Kenyans don't tell him, we shall meet him there. What will you do in London? No, what will you do about me? I will go to those conferences, they will not stop me. If I were there, I would have just finished Maraga in 1 second. This guy has got a hangover over these two gentlemen. He doesn't like them. He does not like Uhuru Kenyatta. The truth must be talked now. And I don't know, he doesn't like Uhuru Kenyatta. He does not. And there's a clique now covering Maraga. We know you. We are going to expose that clique. We are watching you. Maraga, DCJ Mweru, that woman, I don't know, call you, man or call the name. Me, I don't care now. I'm not like a Koinange who goes on to be employed in television stations. I own a television station. I can put it in London and I insult you from morning up to evening. That would be even worse. Because in London, they will not stop me. I'm playing decorum. But you touch Uhuru Kenyatta, I go down with you. Maraga is trying to finish what he started. Believe me or not, after annulling this election, he flew to one country in Eastern Europe. What did he do? Whom did he meet? Where's the report? We can produce that intelligence report, and he will be shocked. So if he has a hangover with Jubilee, we can start it now. It is not too late, man. You see, these guys think the President Uhuru Kenyatta has just told us, let's go ahead and do things that we can do. You see, they threaten people and let them not think people have cowed down. And then they started the way they are starting. These lumpens, Maina Kiai, Gladwell Otieno, Harry Ndubi, all John Mwe, Makao Mutua is changed a bit. Mimi na hawa paka mwisho ya Mungu. I don't want to speak to them. They wanted to kill these two younger men. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I love them. No way. They wanted to kill these two younger men. They wanted these two younger men to be imprisoned. Remember, I am over 60 years. They wanted to kill these guys, man. They wanted them taken to prison. They wanted them killed. And now they are showing their true colors. Wangoja. Mimi onu Maraga alete kesi niende. You know, I will come, and if you want, take me to prison. Is prison hell? At least there are people there. Maraga is a regime changer. Full stop. He's telling the regime change that he can use this constitution of Kenya. Look here. Okay, he said the parliament refused to agree on the gender parity. And you know, when the parliament has refused what the court has ruled, you know what happens. And you have violated the constitution. Maraga is positioning himself. The earlier Uhuru Kenyatta deals with Maraga, the better. The earlier Kenyans, you better deal with this guy. This guy who drives a car alone and then turns around that the drivers were injured. There is no injury. Nyinyi mnataka tuseme nini? We can also say it now. Maraga is touching our nerves. He is the one releasing the same men who go back to steal. His court is releasing people. Can you tell me where the thieves of Thika are? The one who stole money in Thika through a tunnel. Where are those thieves? Don't think we cannot go back to 20s to fight Maraga. We can. We are just giving a period of rest because we want peace. But we can also go back. I was a single man on this platform of media. Niliwamaliza. This is the guy. Niliwamaliza. Yes, we can go back to where we... You see, people cannot connive and underrate and undermine Kenyatta when we are watching. In the court here, they have divided the court. They told the 5 judges, don't dismiss that case of a woman who goes to borrow money. A woman goes to borrow money, Miriam, on using the letterheads of the court, Miriam. She is very innocent, very, very lovely. She uses beauty to get jobs. Let her go out and use beauty. She shouldn't stay in that court. Leo msikie. Maraga should not have even constituted a panel. This woman committed things. Then the judges came and said evidence was got. In Britain, they don't care which evidence they have got. Britain, they could even use, do you know, they can even investigate you for 5 years without you knowing. And when they take that evidence to court, the judge doesn't say, it was got wrongly. Where did these judges go? You got all these small people from NGOs who are looking for handouts, and you made them judges. Who of them can match the degree of democracy that we see in the United Kingdom? Where is it? In the United Kingdom, police can slowly even put cameras on your house every day without you knowing. Put a camera on your car without you knowing. Anybody living in Britain out there, bear me witness. We are not telling a lie. I'm not telling a lie. They can even observe you. They can put it in a tree you don't know. Every morning you get out, you come out, they don't need a warrant. Then a judge in Nairobi tells me the evidence was got wrongly. Which law did he study? What law did they study? Which one? Westminster law? The same one which came from Britain, where police officers in Britain put even gadgets on your car without you knowing. And they follow you, they listen to your conversation. When that evidence is also brought and verified and certified by a notary affidavit, that's it. They criminalize you and you go to jail. Chief Justice Maraga statements in London are calling for regime change. Believe me or not, I give you a chance to say something.
Yes, indeed. And I just want us to just go through a part of the speech. I was reading it in the newspaper this morning. And of course, Chief Justice of Kenya, David Maraga, was speaking at Oxford Union Conference, where I think the theme for the conference was the quest for constitutionalism in Africa. And remember, later on, we'll be looking at is constitutionalism breaking down in Africa. So he was speaking, and while he was speaking, they delivered a very harsh verdict on the Kenyan's government, and he accused the political elite and executive, together with Parliament, for conniving and failing to implement the constitution, and also the provincials. They only implement constitution Parliament that safeguards them. What would you say to that? Was he right or wrong on that point?
Very wrong. Very wrong. Very, very wrong. There is no way Kenya here, the Parliament has brought up a law that has benefited on the MPs. What is happening in the Parliament are standing orders. They are not laws. They are standing orders, and the parliamentary authority is derived from both the standing orders and the Constitution. There is nowhere where the Constitution of Republic of Kenya has been violated by the Parliament. For example, if the motion is put on vote in Parliament between me and you, and the Parliament votes no, they have not violated any law. They have rejected it. Even if it's constitutional, the Parliament has rejected it. For example, the question of gender parity. You can't force every member of Parliament to vote the way you want. Can you?
No,
that's why it's called parliament. Parliament. You stand on your own, then lions and lament. But some people need to understand English and Greek.
Yes.
Why it was called a parliament.
Yes.
It's a power. If you stand on your own, then you can do a liaison with others. L-I-A, parliament.
Yes.
Then you can do quite a lot of things. You don't come there to say yes, 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 yes. Then there would be no parliament, Mama.
Yes, of course, because we need a divergent.
Yes. So
yes.
The parliament in Kenya did not break any law by rejecting what the speaker they put on the floor and asked how many of you want to vote for these women. They said no, because the women are already competing with places and they are taking it.
having places.
Yes,
And
the governors. We have 3 governor women. We have several women who have floored men in constituencies. America did not start by imposing this type of punitive sanctions on the constitution that we give some quota to women. No. America started by encouraging. We need to have more methods of encouraging you women, empowering you
to elective positions.
Yes, yeah.
He cited a case which, of course, the one you're talking about, Parliament is challenging a High Court order that it should be dissolved for failing to implement the 2/3 gender rule in current, and that matter is currently on CJ's desk, because according to our constitution, actually, if we don't have the 2/3 agenda, it has not been met in Parliament, that Parliament should be dissolved, and Parliament went to challenge that.
So he went, exactly. That's why I'm telling you, he went there to ask those NGOs, what can he do? The matter is in court. Kenyans, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This matter is before him to set a panel to decide. So he went to seek from his masters, what can he do? If you are not careful, you are going to regret. You Kenyans, it's not me. It's you going to regret. And I'm telling you the truth. Maraga went there. Why did he cite a case which is already in court and before him to make a decision as to whether to dissolve the Parliament or not? If we are not careful, you Kenyans will wake up one morning.
But the president is the one who's supposed to dissolve the Parliament.
No, but he can. If Maraga gives,
he cannot bypass the president on that.
He has to give an advisory note to the president. Okay, the president can stubbornly.
Not the AG?
No. The president can stubbornly refuse, which will plunge this country into chaos. What Maraga is seeking is not to leave. His time is running fast. He doesn't want to leave the government of Uhuru Kenyatta in power. He wants, as he resigns, it also goes. Or another thing that Maraga has in mind, he's faced with these cases, and there is a new GSC which could decide his fate. He could hurry up and try to disorganize us by bringing draconian things like an advisory note to the president. Or Maraga is simply saying the civil societies in Kenya are ready, they want to move, and here I am. The Kenyan situation is broken down. They have let us down. Maraga, our leaders have let us down. He's a leader. Maraga is a leader in the government. He's part of the governance. Maraga is the Chief Justice. He's the head of one arm of governance. Why does our leaders have let us down?
And he said, of course, the biggest problem that Kenya is facing today is politicians, entrepreneurs, and bad behavior. Is he right? Politicians is our number one problem.
The what?
He said the biggest problems Kenyans are facing today is the politicians, the entrepreneurs, and bad behavior.
And he didn't say politicians. He said dynasties.
Yes, he also mentioned.
He said dynasties.
Business dynasties.
So Maraga is on one side of this.
No, he said business dynasties.
Yes, who else has a business dynasty here?
We have a lot of business.
Do you have?
In Kenya. I don't. Well, I don't.
We have not even a. Matanga has no kiosk. We don't have kiosks.
Yes.
He's looking. When you talk about the business dynasties,
I think
what comes in mind about the dynasty here? If you are talking like that, people in Europe will think maybe President Kenyatta and a few people are the only one who are in Kenya who are earning.
Business dynasty.
Yes, it's a business dynasty.
He's saying these are the ones controlling the country.
The country.
The cartels.
Yes. And yet he's the one who is controlling the biggest fiefdom. If I were in the conference, I would have added fiefdom. The biggest fiefdom of Kenya is the judiciary.
Yes.
The biggest fiefdom. Maraga, listen, I am not happy with you. and watch me. You are the biggest leader of the biggest fiefdom, the fifth kingdom, fiefdom. There are people taking bribes in that court. There are people, even this morning, the deputy LSK member, the woman was saying, you bank money in the court. There is no bank slip in the bank. They work with the bank. That money paid for fines is eaten.
There's no bank slip.
Yes.
But if
that's how corrupt.
I want to
but they have given you a receipt. But when they go later on to do, they give you another bill because the money never arrived. The LSK deputy chairperson, the woman lady, Madame Chinga, on TV this morning, she said it. That fiefdom is where? Who is here iko wapi? Sindio iko kwa Maraga? The money we pay for bonds for what? Yes. It is eaten.
So if you
so a chief justice incompetent who has not even been able to know how to wear his suit left and right, he goes to condemn a country abroad. This type of mentality of Africans, we kill each other ourselves.
But also there's something you said on regards to gender rule that I thought was very interesting. I don't know what you'll make of it. He said gender rule has not been enacted because such legislation will disrupt patriarchal interests of the political elite.
Let me tell you.
So according to him, that is one of the reasons why the gender rule has met a lot.
Which patriarchal is the one who is causing it? Who is causing patriarchal systems? It is him. It is him. It is him. Ask him, there's a chief justice. Allow him to allow the wife to control him instead of him controlling the wife. He's a Christian. Tell us.
I've never heard that woman speak, really.
Yeah, she can't. Can you speak? You don't know the anthropological difficulties of the Chief Justice. I don't want to discuss them here. It's a long time. Please.
Because maybe she doesn't have anything to say to the public.
Yes, indeed, you are saying.
She's not the Chief Justice.
She's not. And she's not allowed.
She seemed to be a private person.
She's not allowed.
She's not allowed to speak.
Yes. Did you know about her? Until the accident in Nakuru.
I see her all the time with the church.
No, in Nakuru.
Church.
In your church.
No, I see them around in church.
Yes,
always good.
That's it. I can Maraga give her more powers.
For what?
Patriarchal. You talked of patriarchal.
He's the one who said that the gender rule has not been enacted because such legislation will disrupt the patriarchal interests of the political elite. And as we see today, there have been arguments that the political scene or the just the public service arena, it has not been very leveled up when it comes to both men and women participating or even vying for this elective position. So he's saying it's very patriarchal in terms of how the settings are. It favors more the men than it does the women.
Maraga is a Christian. He read the Bible. Who was created first?
It's Adam.
I rest my case.
How would you say to the moral? He said the moral fabric is rotten in Kenya, despite Kenya being a very religious country. You're either a Christian, a Muslim, or a Hindu, because those are the main religions we have in Kenya. So we are very religious, but apparently our moral fabric is rotten here in Kenya. Was he right?
I agree.
Okay. So at least one thing you get to
agree. Yes, I agree. The morals are rotten, including himself. The Chief Justice morals also are rotten. Let's go to that case of remote accident. Amoro is not there. Where's the man whose insurance? Which insurance paid the man? These things we live for the sake of the state. And leave it. But if it goes on arousing all these things, we are going to arouse them. Yeah, because he's speaking as a civil society, not as a Chief Justice. He's addressing the civil society. That room there, I've also been there before. I've addressed that union before on LRA issues, Uganda versus the Northerners. With Olalo Tunu, we addressed that conference together in that room. It's not new. That Kwambia alienda Ulaya. It's not new. I don't know. What is all this? You have Songo displaying this, another one displaying this, another one saying this. Now, have these people besieged the government? They have besieged Jubilee. We are in trouble.
Is that why he said that the country is there's very little hope in redeeming the country? He also saying that when he was delivering that speech. There's very little hope in redeeming this country called Kenya.
Look at those words.
Redemption strategy apparently is not working very well for us.
How can you tell a restaurant owner, a 5-star owner of a restaurant, that he is suffering from hunger? If he has several hotels and they tell him, he comes up to say, I'm bad off, I'm dying of hunger, when he owns 5-star hotels. Can you do that? Can Maraga tell the world, hey, you people?
Yeah, so Maraga had a lot to say when he was delivering that speech over the weekend. And remember, the president also was in Canada, and some people making some memes on social media. They're saying now that the president is in Canada, he should bring back Miguna with him.
You have seen what Miguna...
What did he... Of course he tweeted. What did he say?
Hey, Miguna is attacking the Canadian president.
Not over the Prime Minister. Not over the weekend. Yesterday was Wednesday. Why am I thinking that yesterday was Saturday?
He attacked the Canadian Prime Minister. You see, if you are not careful, Miguna might have no state.
He's attacking also the...
Miguna thinks he's the only one who has a dual nationality.
So
in the
what
world.
is Justin?
There are very many with dual nationality,
yes,
but they don't go on posing themselves the way he poses. Very soon, he might not have a state. I'm telling you, Miguna will be thrown in an island.
He'll be stateless.
State nowhere, no country will take him. Maybe if he doesn't bow down and come down and stop that type of insults on the men in power, even those who will come in power will fear him. Now everybody in Kenya fears Miguna.
He's repulsive.
Yes, not even impulsive.
Okay. Well,
everybody fears MM because if you can't even, you should spare some friends who can assist you, surely. But the way things are going, Miguna has no friend. Just be honest, you'll see. You will remain without a friend. Yeah. Because the Canadians, once they see what he's talking about, the president didn't go there to pull him out. If it was Museveni, what he did to me, to write to the British government to bring me back, Muguna is lucky. Some of us went through what he's going through today. Yes. I'm telling you from a practical point of view.
Yes, indeed. That was a very interesting speech there by the Chief Justice over yesterday. But also, Uhuru Kenyatta was in Canada, and there also he gave a new push towards the gender legislation that you're just talking about. His
Can't you see? Do you see Uhuru Kenyatta's headline? It is squeezed very far there at the end.
Page 5.
No, they don't want even it. What he said in Canada was very important, but nobody wants to take it.
Yes, he said, I will reach out to my fellow leaders because time has come for us to pull together to further this agenda. That is the 2/3. According to the Kenyan constitution, it is required that in parliament, the composition in parliament, no gender should be more than there should be at least a 2/3 representation of members of parliament for both men, male or female. No gender should be more than 2/3 in parliament. So there should be that gender parity. And he said he'll work with fellow leaders. And remember, it has gone through, is it 3 times in Parliament that this has been rejected? And the last time was late last year, I think in November, that the law or the bill was rejected in Parliament. And so The head of state reiterated his resolve to support women leadership as he came highly recommended for his efforts in championing gender equality agenda in Africa by one of the leaders that was present in that meeting or that conference in Canada. The president was there. Remember, he went to Canada. He was where before going to Canada? He had visited which place? I can't remember before he went to Canada. But yeah, that is his response to that. So he said his government is committed towards seeing that there's a gender parity.
The gender parity issue, very few countries in Africa have managed. South Africa, I think, Rwanda, I think, it has managed.
Ethiopia
has
but
managed.
That is just in appointments of public positions. But you know, Kenyan situation is very different because they want, I don't know how, we are supposed to elect at least, because we elect these people in parliament, but how even the leader the majority leader was trying to build this bill that he brought in parliament, even for me as a woman, as much as I want to see more women in leadership, did not make a lot of sense to me. Because you cannot say, after we go through an elective period, okay, fine, this is how many men or women you have in parliament, so you have to bring more, and for them to do what? Do we just need the numbers in parliament, or do we just need quality legislation?
There you are.
So even I, as a woman, was a bit confused.
Okay.
But of course, I support.
There you are.
I support.
I'm happy.
But how it was coined did not make sense to me, even me as a woman in this country.
I'm happy now. I'm happy now. You are seeing the mistake that Mr. Maraga is doing because he's not analyzing the way you are. The way the thing was brought in Parliament.
He's looking at it from the legal point.
Yes.
Because as it is now, Parliament is unconstitutionally, it should not even be there. It's legally composed as illegally. It's illegal as it is composed right now. So I think he was just looking at it from the legal point.
And he could technically use that by law. He can actually dissolve that parliament.
The president should, actually, as it is. So he's saying now that the parliament is supposed to be dissolved. The parliamentarians went to argue that, to appeal on that. So the appeal is on his desk right now. So I don't know what he will decide on that. I think he's...
Let me tell you, Miriam, the way things are now is we are being given warning shots. And if we are not careful, we might find ourselves in cul-de-sac. And that cul-de-sac is coming.
Leader.
If we are not careful at all, we are not careful, we are going to find ourselves in a cul-de-sac on this issue of Maraga. Maraga is giving us warning shots. Maraga is telling us that we must be prepared, that any time we can use a pen and the law, since the case is in his hands, to make a decision as to whether he dissolves the Parliament of Kenya or not. And let Kenyans now be on record to understand that this man Maraga could be paid money by foreign forces, and he comes to dissolve and disorganize this government, this nation. That is the truth of it. Maraga was very proud when he struck off an election. Yes, we can agree the election could have anomalies. But now he's warning us, he's quietly, silently telling us that thing is there. And then he goes further to say that others have let us down. So a man who has reached the point of saying the other leaders have let us down, this man can resurrect one morning, wake up from a wrong side of his wife's sleeping antics, come and dissolve this country and create chaos. So time has come as quickly, Kenyans, those who see the MPs, the president and other people, you better call Mr. Maraga to order, come down and sit down. Then the president, the Speaker of National Assembly, have a meeting with Maraga, because Maraga seemed to be working on the whims of the NGOs, the Gradual Otianos, the others, the Harun Dubis, the John Jomuwes of this country, the Maina Kiais, the ones, the Githongos, the ones, the David Indies, the ones who don't like Uhuru Kenyatta. I'm telling you. So it doesn't need a European to come and say it. I'm an African who comes from across a country which could where you will run if there is chaos here. You will not run in Indian Ocean. You will not go to Somalia, there is war.
Just across.
You will not go to up
Yes.
in the north. The Sudanese are hammering each other. Here, Al-Shabaab is eating us. The ocean that side. Tanzania doesn't like you. The only country that likes you is Matanga's country. So when you talk, people tell you you're Ugandan. I don't know how serious this is, how we have reached national boundaries, yet you run to the same country. We still have people there. Maraga is taking us to there. Miriam, I am telling you, you wait and see the way the man is. This man, you see, one of the charge sheet in that letter is making political statements. And now this qualifies one of the political statements he made. That was not a legal platform. You know, in Kenya here, he attends even rallies. He even took his head out when people, he has now smelled the power. The guy wants to create a crisis, then grab power for some months. You see, if you dissolve parliament, to me the speaker is useless. So who else? It is Maraga who takes power. Have you seen? If you have dissolved the parliament, then the Kenyans will say, no, since now this thing is imeharibika. Mr. President, your term is finished. Because the president will not stand for another term. Mark you, this is a very tricky situation. And we have got to take this guy out quickly. Because this guy can take us out. Politically, Maraga, and legally, Maraga will take us out. You know? The President Kenyatta will not stand, will not be legible.
For another time.
If a parliament is dissolved now.
If he calls, yes. And speaking of course, that ties to our next topic, which is who is weak in governance in Kenya. And of course, while Chief Justice was delivering that speech, he really gave very harsh verdict on Kenya's governance. Who is the weakest?
He's the weakest link.
Governance in Kenya.
He's the weakest link. For viewers outside there, a criminal in Kenya comes to rape your daughter. And when he knows the police are on the way coming for you, that criminal goes to get an anticipatory order telling him that he should not be arrested even when the DNA show the daughter was raped by the same man. This is which law is that? In your country, wherever you are, is there something like that? Talk to us. So, that is the law Maraga presides on. Why hasn't he written to the Law Reform Commission to ask for review? Because that's the work of the legal department, the JSC, of which it has money to review some laws and recommend to the parliament for change. That's one. Secondly, on the question of corruption, Maraga has a chance to renew this country. He could suggest that bail conditions be, determined depending on the type of economic crime you have committed. If you have committed a serious fraudulent money that has been taken out, you should not be given automatic bail. That can be also reviewed. It doesn't need a referendum to review. It can be reviewed in the context of the parliament and the JSG and the judiciary and the stakeholders' participation.
Do you think our parliament would vote on such a law? Because it's overdue. We need that. Do you think our parliament has the will to even vote in terms of such amendments?
To change the law, yeah, to catch up.
Because a lot of them are culprits, especially when it comes to corruption. You think they would want to vote on something or pass a bill that might find them entangled and in the middle of it?
Miriam.
That is the tricky part. And of course, he said the government or the governance in this country has failed to tackle corruption, impunity, and vote rigging. That takes us back to
vote rigging.
Yes.
There you are. Let's take a break. And when we come back on top of our medium, we'll have African news. And then as soon as she finishes, I'll join. I take back a back seat and allow her to enjoy.
All right.
The seat that is hot.
The hot seat. Hotter than Jeff Koinange's the yesterday show.
Don't bring it here.
I didn't even watch it. It's okay. I sleep very early.
Yes. You sleep early, but Jeff Koinange was embarrassment. We shall talk about it in the
late in the afternoon show.
Uncensored. Is it unfiltered show?
What did we used to call it?
Unfiltered.
Okay.
Can we have our unfiltered show at 3 p.m., please?
Oh, jeez.
Are there morals in the public officers in Kenya?
Yeah, Maraga said the moral fabric is
is the moral fabric in the public officers broken? Or are there more? Do we have enough morals to be public officers? Do we have enough morals to be public officers?
And does it form part of the requirement for you to serve in a public office in Kenya?
Yes, morally.
Yes.
If you are telling another man that my husband cannot support me, give me 500 million, 500,000 shillings to go, 500,000. So what else can you not do?
And that was a very private conversation. So the person who even thought it was okay to make it public, I mean...
Ma'am,
let's take a break.
We can't take a break.
Yes,
you know when you leave.
Take a break. Because I have some.
All right.
We agree that is
all right. Unfiltered 3 p.m. is hot. The engine is hot.
We have to calm it down.
Yes.
For now.
Anybody who wants to join the 3 p.m. unfiltered show, unfiltered, we've had the facts. Walai, I will reason you out on this.
I'll just be here sipping coke today, not even.
No.
We'll switch.
There's no coke. You told me to leave coke. Any soft drink she has recommended me.
You can bring an apple. I'll just be here munching while you tackle that. Yes.
I've just eaten 2. Is it to drink apple only? Apple is good.
It's good for eating also. It's good for digestive system. It's good.
And good, not coke.
Very healthy.
Let's get a break and go and buy these apples.
Yes, and come back with what is making headlines in Africa this morning. Please don't go too far.
Don't go too far, man. We discuss Africa. We see what ails Africa. And today, this afternoon, we want to see whether Sudan will permanently remain a sick child of Africa. Is it a permanent sickness? Can we resolve the issues of Southern Sudan? Is it something that has gone wrong for 200 years? There has always been a problem in Southern Sudan, in that great region, starting from all the way the Alimadi wars and the rest of all what happened until today. Peace seems to be elusive. Why has UN taken slow action? Why hasn't UN set up a tribunal? We want to see a tribunal that will make sure that Southern Sudan people are accountable. Those who committed crimes against the human beings. 20,000 Sudanese perished. They are perished. They are not accountable. Nobody can account for them. And we cannot sit here, go on hammering peace agreements without mechanisms of accountability. If we set a tribunal for Sierra Leone, for Rwanda, for Camera Rouge, we need somebody to stand up for the poor masses, the masses that have died, the masses that continue to die, the masses that are being brutalized, murdered, maimed on a daily basis by marauding armies of both Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. There must be an accountability. You are not going to sit here and tell people there is no accountability in Southern Sudan. There must be a tribunal. Why do we run to harass countries of Kenya? Put ICC on Kenya, put ICC on this country, put ICC on Central African Republic. Why have we delayed on putting a tribunal for Southern Sudan to find out who is killing, who has been killing, how they have been killing people? Let me speak for the people in Southern Sudan, the women, the children who have not gone to school, the children who have no medicine, the children who have nothing, who have been running since 2013, and the war cannot end because of two people. Let them face the tribunal. I'm not going to keep quiet as a Pan-African to see Southern Sudan being maimed, being tortured, being cut, dismembered, and we keep quiet and watch people vote images of people, of malcontents singing to us in Uganda, in Kenya, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, telling us they have money. Let them face the international tribunal and tell the tribunal who gave them the guns, where they buying them, how they were killing people. Enough of is enough. Enough is enough for Africa. We have had enough. There is no need of that anymore. Enough is enough. And if people have died, they will not cry. We people who are left on planet Earth must cry for them. We must find justice for them. We must make sure that there are leaders who go on bragging on television stations all over the world, who are accountable. They must be behind bars.
You again for staying with us. This is still Good Morning Africa, coming to you all the way from Nairobi, and we just concluded our first hour of the show where we looked at the latest and on Chief Justice a speech he gave in Oxford that touched and heavily criticized the governance of this country, and also we looked at who is weak in governance in Kenya. And right now I'd like for us to go through what is making headlines in Africa this afternoon. Actually, it's just a few minutes past noon here in Nairobi, and then we'll look at some of those countries with Dr. Matanga after I'm through with the news, news headlines, and then we will go straight to our Diaspora Dispatches topic of the day, which is constitutionalism breaking down in Africa. But right now, let's just delve right in, and we start with Sudan, where the United States, Britain, and Norway have denounced a plan by Sudan's military rulers to hold elections after a deadly crackdown on protesters, calling instead on an orderly transition to civilian rule. In a brief statement, the U.S. government also sent its condolences to the families of those who had died when the military crashed a pro-democracy demonstration. A Sudanese official has denied that at least 100 people have been killed by a paramilitary unit during protests, saying that the number was at most 46. Doctors linked to the opposition on Wednesday said at least 100 people have been killed in capital Khartoum amid a pro-democracy protest. And still in Sudan, Saudi Arabia, a main back of the military council, who had stayed quiet, but now says that it is concerned about developments in Sudan and has called for dialogue. That might explain the sudden U-turn by the head of the military council, Lieutenant General Burhan, who now says the military is ready to talk with the opposition. This contradicts his statement on Tuesday that all agreements reached so far had been scrapped. And in Senegal, President Macky Sall has said his government will find out the truth behind the BBC's investigation piece, which said that his brother Aliou Sall benefited from an oil deal with the BP oil company. And in Eritrea, the country has issued a scathing attack on African Union, accusing it of posturing over the crisis in Sudan. A statement from the Ministry of Information in Asmara argued that the international body to refrain from internationalism and exhibiting the situation in Sudan. It also accused the AU of having unwittingly provided suitable a pretext for foreign intervention. And in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe and the European Union have begun their first formal political talks in 17 years. The EU ambassadors in Zimbabwe met government representatives in the first of a series of planned meetings aimed at ending decades of trade and economic hostility. The EU removed the majority of economic sanctions against Zimbabwe in 2014, but does not give direct financial assistance to the government. And in Uganda, officials say at least 6 people have been killed and 17 injured during a landslide in the eastern Ugandan district of Bududa in the early hours of Wednesday morning. It is feared that the death toll could rise as people are still searching for their missing relatives. And in Nigeria, the Nigerian ambassador to the United Nations has been chosen as the next president of the body's General Assembly. Tijani Mohamed Bande was elected to head the organization for a year, starting in September. Ambassador Mohamed Bande is the second Nigerian to preside over the General Assembly. The first was Joseph Nanven Gaba in 1989, and he will be taking over from Maria Fernanda Espinosa of Ecuador. And in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, the Ethiopian capital, has been chosen to host the next gathering of World Football Governing Body's supreme legislative body, the FIFA Congress. And Africa contributed 7 out of 10 countries bedeviled by displacement crisis, classed as most neglected according to a Norwegian Refugee Council report released on Wednesday. The top 4 countries on the list were 1. Cameroon, followed by Democratic Republic of Congo, a Central African Republic, and Burundi. And in South Sudan, the government has dismissed reports that it procured arms and ammunition recently. In November 2018, a report by London-based Conflict Amendment Research suggested that Ugandan government, on behalf of South Sudan, purchased arms and ammunition from at least 3 EU members, namely Bulgaria, Romania, and Slovakia. The weapons were then sent to South Sudan's military and armed allies in the Sudan. The 101-page report documents how hundreds of weapons and more than 200,000 rounds of ammunition used in the conflict made their way to South Sudan. And still in South Sudan, the Human Rights Watch has accused the National Army of committing crimes against civilians in Yei River State recently. According to the Human Rights Watchdog, the atrocities were meted out against the civilians between December 2018 and March 2019. And the report further indicated that almost 10,000 people have been freshly displaced. And we end with Uganda, where President Yoweri Museveni will today afternoon deliver his State of the Nation address, highlighting achievements registered in the current financial year and plans for 2018-2019 financial year. Provided for under the Article 101 of the Uganda's Constitution, the State of the Nation address is delivered at the beginning of each session of Parliament. However, in consultation with the Speaker, the President is at liberty to address Parliament at any time over pressing national matters. Museveni is expected to address issues like economy, energy, infrastructure, security, issues pertaining to governance. And that is the latest from Africa this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Miriam Agutu, and it is a good afternoon from here in Nairobi. So, Sudan.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia has come out to say that it is worried with the recent developments in Sudan and now is calling for a dialogue. Is Saudi Arabia even genuine?
No. They have already caused the problem. The problem is there. What the Sudanese military has done is the right direction. You cannot have demonstrators who have overthrown a government, whose president is in jail, already serving or not yet tried, and you want more. Then how will the state perform? That's how Libya was left without any form of power, of structures. It collapsed into a failed state. What the generals in Khartoum are trying to do is to protect a state from collapsing. So they are saying 9 months, you organize yourselves, hold an election, we shall go back to the barracks. At the moment, there is no country in the world that can now say leave it for free for all. Then we have another pariah state north of Eritrea and other places. No.
Yes, but he's also curious, and analysts are seeing this as if Saudi Arabia is really pulling the strings. As you said, they already caused the problem, because it is after Saudi Arabia now calls for dialogue, that is when the military council head comes and says, you know what, we now want to reach out to the other side, even after they had they scraped all the agreements they had with the opposition on Tuesday, but now they said, okay, we are willing to have this dialogue. This comes after Saudi Arabia has made that. So is Sudan turning out to be a Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt puppet?
It has always been, and it will always be. Sudan is. Where are the people training those who are fighting in Yemen? They are from Sudan. Sudan has been a puppet.
They're fighting against the Houthi rebels.
The Houthi rebels.
And right now, I think I was seeing a news piece in the morning, and the Houthi rebels has killed a number of our Saudi Arabian armies.
Yes.
Today, actually.
Including the
yesterday.
Sudanese.
Yes.
Yes, it's very many. So, you know, the fight between Iran and Saudi Arabia is what is causing, they want to bring this thing across the Red Sea.
Yes.
We are trying to avoid it. Tell them to stay where they are. They have their oil. Let's die with our poverty on this continent. But they are trying to export that type of terrorism back on our mainland area. That is not going to be very good at all. If you look at what is happening across and then compare with what is happening this way, this thing of the Houthi rebels, soon they will want to reach Khartoum.
Certainly.
And they will want to start planting bombs because they know that Sudanese soldiers are the ones across in Yemen. So for us Africans, sorry, if Saudi Arabia is used to fighting and violence, go ahead with your violence. But people should stand up in Africa, defend Africa, talk about Africa, tell them to keep off.
And what do you make of Eritrea now coming and criticizing the AU and saying that AU's failure to handle the situation in Sudan has allowed a suitable pretext for foreign intervention now?
I told you.
But Eritrea.
I told you whether it is still a member. I told you. My report is reaching slowly. Africans are going to see my role. I told you this man, Mohammed Faki, has sold us to the French. We are gone. That place is captured. There is no AU.
Yes.
AU is a building built by Russia, by China. But there is inside the body, there is no functioning chairperson. The chairperson is just holding in to go and become a president of Chad. He doesn't want to annoy the people who annoy Africa. The people who annoy Africa are the French. Look at what they have done. They have done in Libya. Look at that. Libya gives you an example. The United Nations recognized government. France is a member of the Security Council. Recognized the government in Tripoli. France came back with Egypt and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They support General Khalifa Haftar from Benghazi to go and overthrow a government that we in AU have recognized.
And the United Nations too.
Yes. So the Italian Prime Minister came out to say, no, this is too much. We cannot keep quiet because we are in the European Union.
That's when the Italian
assistant he came out and said, no. There is something wrong with France.
Yes.
I was not wrong. I told you, some people are paid money direct from Paris. There is no AU. There is no AU. Kisano, Mbeki, all of you wake up. AU is gone.
This has been captured.
Is captured. If the Musevenis don't talk about the behavior of the chairperson, President Museveni, President Uhuru Kenyatta, speak about the behavior of this man.
Because their quietness is seen as a complacency.
Yes.
Towards the bad leadership.
Look at what is happening in Sudan. The AU knows what is supposed to be done. It calls these young men, these generals, and said, we want you to return power quickly. Then the general said, but we have suspended the constitution. Return on which constitution? The constitution that was there allows Bashir to stay. Now, we need to do a constitution.
It's a quagmire there.
It's a quagmire state. Then they later on saw the problem. Then they ran back to say they had adjusted themselves. Okay? Now, they have adjusted themselves. What do they do with the adjustment? They play tricks. They look this way, they look that way. They find another milking pot. That is Saudi Arabia. Because all along Saudi Arabia has been trying to oppose whatever they wanting to have, but since it is closer to us,
They've been wanting to have a lot of influence.
Influence on the AU.
Yes, on the AU as well.
Which has been rejected by most countries quietly. For them, they want to take power, take AU and hold it, use their money. Their human rights record is worse. They shred people. They shred people. They shredded Khashoggi.
He became
They minced him in meat. Is that a government? That's not a government.
So Eritrea is right by saying AU is just posturing. They're not giving, because after the crisis came, Omar al-Bashir was removed. The only
AU is useless. Look at what African Union Commission is useless. They are killing people I've been crying for 3 years. People are dying in Amazonia. People are dying in Cameroon. Slaughtering people in Cameroon is the daily breakfast of a gentleman, 89-year-old, called Paul Beer, who has bought 1 million shilling hair from India, from dead people to the wife. That is the AU you look at. There's no AU. AU has been compromised. African Union is paper and the building that China gave us. But the heads inside don't operate. One man called Gassamu was linked to the French intelligence. He was picking money to stuff for the programs of Africa. One man, and I got him, I followed him, I got him, and he was sacked. He was called. It was my report in February which finally brought Gassami's sacking in the AU. Muhammad Faki called the date, I can tell you. In February, Muhammad Faki called Mr. Gassami, said, "What is this? You have brought this organization to disrepute. I give you 3 months to clear yourself out of this, but as per the agreement, as the job description, 3 months to sort out. By May, you leave." It's my report. If I did not shout, this guy would be there. It's my report that has gone in depth. Nobody can challenge me in Africa. You think I'm not an African? I'm an African. I also want to be a chairperson of African Union. I've studied books to better than Muhammad Faki. He doesn't know anything he's doing in African Union. The slaughter of people the slaughter of people in Amazonia. Haven't you seen? We have done very little. African Union should be the one which would have told UN that people are dying in Amazonia. But African Union only keeps quiet, calls meetings, people go with perfume, with long dresses like a Buhari. Buhari going for a meeting for what?
A long dress. He wears a dress.
Those gabs.
Yes, gabs.
I hate it.
And just adding to what you're saying, there's a report that was released by the Norwegian Refugee Council that says top countries that have neglected or the human crisis of refugee. Number 1 is Cameroon, followed by the DRC, and then the Central African Republic, and then Burundi.
Where refugees come from.
And they have been neglected. Nobody even talks about them.
Nobody. African Union would be lauding that to international community, help us in Amazonia. It doesn't do it. Matsanga is doing more better than African Union. I'm doing better because I spend 2 hours here every day talking about issues that affect Africa. That guy spends time working how he's gonna get money to run for an election in Chad against Idris Deby.
Oh, he has a political
financial
interest.
That's why Idris Deby threw this lumpen to us. He dumped the lumpen to us. This lumpen. I'm talking with evidence because I've got bank accounts showing money coming, unexplained money. You cannot be in the AU and you earn that type of money. Were you selling diamonds in South Africa? No. Sorry.
All right. Maybe we just appreciate a bit our viewers before we continue at Tap Dark. You're saying, Dr. Masanga, why don't we do that? In Africa countries, instead of track those who are tracking up us, or I don't know what you mean by that. Maybe he'd written another conversation up there, but I'll look for it. Agwad, thank you so much, and good afternoon. Daniel Kimani, thank you. Ombesh Arthur, you're saying watching and listening live, and he's liking what it's being discussed this morning. Musa Walude, you're saying good morning, Doctor, and Miriam, indeed. Please tell us, is there anything out there that you feel we should talk about in Alfu? Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Tokyo, Japan. And you're saying Ambazonians are bleeding, Doctor. Hello to you there in the studio. So Ambazonia is still bleeding as we speak this afternoon.
It is. Yesterday, the United Nations Human Rights gave out a verdict about the deaths in Amazonia. The type of killing, the houses, the burning of people, the eating of people by Mr. Beer, ordering for the meat of the most intelligent Amazonian to be put in a fridge in his Yaoundé palace. That's how bad it is. We have become cannibals. Constitutionalism has collapsed.
It has collapsed.
African constitutionalism has collapsed. We are now going to Oxford University to seek a redeemer. To seek a redeemer through the tall man of 67 years old, Maraga, seeking a redeemer. Instead of redeeming African constitutionalism, he's begging people in Oxford. He's begging mafia, international mafia known by name Dr. Nana Busia, Jeffrey Smith, Johnny Cousins. Let's go. George Soros. That meeting was sponsored by George Soros. That union of Oxford is funded by George Soros. Let's go. Let's mention them. All the zygotes from African continent, political malcontents, arrived there to listen how you can regime change Africa. Shame. Shame on you.
All right. Zden Zim, you're watching us all the way from Australia. And Abraham Nweke, thank you. He's saying it's bad governance that is affecting Africa.
Why can't such a place, okay, they call constitutionalism. Why do they give Maraga? Is Maraga because he's the tallest in Africa? Because of his height? There's nothing he can present there. Which English was he presenting? Oh, shut. This Bazungu also at times laugh at us. Which English was Maraga presenting there? Which one? At least my accent Ugandan is, but my material, if I write and present it, someone will know. But what was Maraga? He went there to do politics. I think the audience must have been very bored. Thanks God the audience was NGO. Some of them drawn as far as Nairobi. Otherwise, an audience like a London School of Economics, they will end up throwing things at him or they tell him, shut up. Has he ever addressed London School of Economics like some of us? I have.
Maybe he'll get an opportunity.
Where? This one will be thrown out. Those were NGOs.
Yes.
London School of Economics students are radical. The East African Community Club is radical. They will ask you questions until you just ask the moderators to give you some breathing space. He can't address London School of Economics. What language will he use there?
So some good news for Zimbabwe as the European Union have begun a formal political talks after 17 years being in the dark.
Yes. We are pushing on. But as they do, as they go into political talks, remember the condition they are going to bring is a negotiated government.
Because it is said that during the closed door, they focused on trade, investment, human rights, and democracy.
Yes. So Emerson Mnangagwa, also I'm tired of you. And I'm going to say it.
But also Emerson
I'm tired because he doesn't know. Emerson Mnangagwa is not seeing.
Yes.
The European Union finally has cornered him. They want to bring him.
He's already cornered.
One of the things that they are going to do for him is to ask him to have a government of national unity. That's all. I've already seen the papers. You can run, you know, Zimbabweans also, they pretend to be knowing some things. They don't know.
Yes.
The papers are very clear. They have already wound up, closed, and have finished. Mnangagwa will have a government of national unity with Chamisa. That's what they want. Don't waste your time and Matanga's time. Don't call me. I'm fed up.
So in light of what has been happening lately, that could be
they have finished them. The government of Zimbabwe is in chaos. They have first of all broken them to pieces. Made the generals not happy with them. You saw the report last week.
Yes.
And then they fight each other. Then they isolate one group as a Magendo group. The one that does business. Is taking the biggest business. That's how they do it. Regime change. They do it. These Zimbabwean friends of mine are where. They tell lies all the time. Lies. Tomorrow, Bukura, they are not worth it.
They're not worth it. So is it?
I'm telling you,
is
is
that a good thing or a bad thing for Zimbabwe right now?
It's very bad. At the end of the day, it's going to be very bad. The people who voted ZANU-PF, it is going to revolt. It's going to bring a revolt against, do you know who? It's going to bring a revolt against Mnangagwa.
So
you will see.
He better watch out on those.
No, he can't watch out. He can't watch in. He can't watch out. He can't watch. He's already in.
Better be on the lookout.
Yes, ameshikwa. Ndani.
He's in a very tight.
Ako ndani. Kwisha yeye.
Okay.
They have finished him because they have now finally they have started the talks. They have told the ambassadors we have now already got an army surrounding in Botswana. Thanks God, what could help Zimbabwe is Kama and Masisi are fighting. But the presence of the American SEALs, what are SEALs looking for? What are SEALs looking for in Botswana?
Botswana, yes.
Zimbabwe, I have helped. I'm fed up. What are SEALs looking for? They are in Botswana. What are they looking for? They have prepared a good trigger mechanism. Yes. The trigger mechanism now, after you have made it very difficult for the conditions, for the fuel, for the what, now go in and ask for a discussion with the president. One of the timetables, human rights. Second, democracy. And the third, economy. So, economy, we shall do everything, all we want to do. But you allow civil society to operate, you allow demonstrations to take place as they want, and we want a government of national unity. That's what they are tabling on to Mnangagwa.
Yes, and
that's a breakdown of constitutionalism.
Yes.
You know, I brought these topics because I knew you were gonna also. You are now part and parcel of my brain.
Yes.
Yes.
Which side, the left one or the right one?
The real one.
The good one.
The real one.
The real one. All right.
The brain that produces a boy.
Let's just come back to Zimbabwe.
Yes.
When you start speaking in tongues, you lose me.
No, it's parable.
Yes.
So,
tongues, yes.
All what they have done
yes.
is they have seen the weaknesses of His Excellency, the performance of the government.
And the desperation.
Yes.
Right now.
So what they have come now with a new tactic that don't worry, we shall give you the money you want, but we want you to incorporate. We want you to incorporate and have a government of national unity. So where you tell me, where will you refuse?
He's been cornered.
He's cornered.
That is a very interesting development from Zimbabwe there, and will be following very keenly. And Zimbabwe, before we come to our topic of the day, Africa Diaspora Dispatches, President Yoweri Museveni today will be delivering his State of the Nation address and highlighting his achievements and, of course, the current financial year plans 2018-2019. And he is expected to address issues around economy, energy, infrastructure, security, and issues pertaining governance. I don't know what he'll have to say about governance especially, but perhaps economy and energy and infrastructure. How would you compare the infrastructure and the economy of Uganda now compared to, say, 5 years ago? Has there been notable changes in Uganda in regards to this? Economy and infrastructure. How would you compare Uganda today as opposed to 5 years ago?
Uganda's economy is fantastic. This is the corruption is single-handedly a pyramid because it sits at the top, but the economy functions.
Yes.
If you want a loan, you have to know somebody who speaks the same like the someone, and then the someone.
Ethnicity is a big issue.
Yes. No, ethnicity is outlawed in Uganda.
But you have to speak a language of...
Yeah, but it is outlawed, but it is underground. It's done underground.
Okay.
Yes, but the economy, as far as Uganda is concerned,
yes,
it's functioning.
It's functioning well.
There are buildings coming up. The industry, the life, let's say, what do we call the daily life
of the Ugandan
per capita expenditure?
Ugandan. Yes.
It is, if you have 10,000 Kenya shillings, you can feed very well in Uganda. Yes.
10,000, that's for a month or what?
Yes. In fact, it can take you for a month.
Food there is very affordable.
The affordability of food,
yes,
cheap housing,
cheap housing.
The rain, yeah. Yes. The rainfall, the climate, the weather. Uganda is made strides. And we are endowed with the good weather, the good climate, the good seasons for planting. We have plenty of food. 10,000 shillings, you enjoy Kampala.
Okay, 10,000 Kenya shillings.
Yes, 1 million Kenya shillings in Kampala. President Museveni will know you are around.
I should go there soon.
Yes.
What would you suggest if I visit Kampala? What should I look out for?
You have to look out for me.
On a very serious note. You'll be here, so I'll just...
No, if you want to go for tourism,
I want to visit.
In fact, it's no problem. You can go for once and report, then you need to get your card accreditation.
Okay.
Then you can do the reporting from Kampala for us.
I just want to go there and relax.
Yeah, if you want to relax, I will arrange for you.
No, just on my personal capacity.
No, I will arrange.
On my personal capacity. It seems to be
it's a very good place.
Yes, I know.
To be very honest, 50,000 shillings of Kenya.
That's
it's enough.
It's enough for.
It's enough.
Okay.
It's enough for a week.
Good.
Yeah, it's enough.
I'll make plans for that.
That's enough. That is about 1.7 million shillings of Uganda. You can pay your rent. You can live in a very secure apartment, well organized, well lit, well cleaned. Okay. No pipes running with water and feces while you are singing. Yes, I'm always honest.
You just messed up my lunch appetite.
You might not have it. There is more to come.
Why are you doing that? I'll just eat the Tic Tacs then.
So Uganda,
yes,
the economy, apart from the breakdown of constitutionalism.
Yes, and he will be addressing that.
Constitutionalism.
About the constitution.
The constitution is changed, is shrinkage of constitutionalism is leading to regime change. You can see Chiza Besigye, Bob Wine, and others who are fed by international agencies, who are friends of international agencies, are beginning to warm up to a regime change, mentioning things like there must be people's power, people's revolution.
Yes.
That is coming because a constitutional breakdown is happening in Africa. A constitutional breakdown is happening in Zimbabwe. People have broken the constitution. They no longer trust the constitution that they put there. So they are seeking extra means, which Maraga is telling people that's the only way here. The state is irredeemable.
Yes, he said that.
Actually, that's what he said. We have reached a point of no return. Then why should he be a chief justice? Why should he be a chief justice to a state that has reached a point of no return?
Maybe he's not ready to report on redemption strategy. You need to make sure he gets a copy of that.
It's very sad.
He's not up to date with that.
It's very, very sad.
Yes.
For a chief justice to say Kenya has reached irredeemable proportion where you can't redeem, yet he goes to a function. He was in Narok. Did we drive the cars upside down? Wasn't he welcomed? Did he leave Narok hungry? He ate even more.
Okay, so in Africa, South Africa, Namibia, and Ghana are commonly cited as positive examples when it comes to the constitution-making process.
In Namibia is already in a crisis.
As it is now.
Because there are people jostling for posts.
Yes.
They want to break it.
The constitution.
Ghana is stable. But I saw yesterday a faction saying
they want to secede.
Yeah, they want another state.
Yes, they do.
That type of ultranationalism is beginning from Europe coming to Africa.
But what can we learn?
You know, if Britain that colonized us is seeking to leave Brexit,
yes,
to leave European Union, what do you think an African country here with borders that were decided by Bismarck in 1884 without us being consulted? None of our grandfathers, grandchildren were involved. Grandfathers were involved in deciding whether Matanga should be born across Mountain Elgon or inside Kenya in Mount Elgon. These are some of the areas that have caused us a problem, and Africa faces a constitutional crisis.
But of course, the main point when it comes to especially the constitutional democracy in Africa, there has been, because we borrow so much from outside, and it's not really relevant in the African context. So how can we maybe copy from a constitution that is working like
Let's copy from China.
From China.
Don't tell me.
Put it in the local context. How will that work?
In China.
Even have the
How were we governing ourselves, Miriam? How? We were governing ourselves.
Yes.
Before the white man came in. How are we dressing? We are dressing in skins. We used to dress in skins.
We should go back to that?
No, I'm not saying we go back to that because time has moved.
Yes.
But if you ask why Britain is going back to become its own, an island in water, instead of remaining and gaining more and teaching us of unity,
yes,
it is telling us to break out and go away. So what do you think African countries are saying? The African countries are also copying from the colonial master. If the colonial master is exiting from European Union, because it has seen another breed of Europeans coming from Eastern Russia, former Soviet Union, former states pouring into the island. They are fearing the island could sink. Yes, literally. You never know.
Yes.
We don't know where it is anchored. None of us know where it is anchored. Do you know? We don't know where this world, Africa, is anchored. It's surrounded by the ocean. But where is it anchored? Maybe there's another ocean down there. Do we know? Bigger than these oceans. Are we standing in the vacuum? What is deep down there? Nobody has ever discovered what is deep down there.
Yes.
We dig and dig and dig and get oil. But after oil, there might be something special. It is like the space. How far is the space? How far is the space? Someone telling you run 5 million miles of the space. So where is the space? How far is it? These are some of the things that worried the Africans should get worried about, that a new a new format
Yes.
is sweeping Africa.
And has been, I think, African constitution continues to evolve, and in the past 25 years, you have witnessed, Africa has witnessed constitutional renaissance that has very little, influence by the outsiders as we've been trying to make our own. But this has also been a challenge. And when we see the constitutional framework today, as we work to get new constitutions, and we see our Kenyans, we promulgated a new constitution in 2010, and to try and rectify some of the wrongs we thought the other constitution was not really focusing on. But also there is this very delicate balance of getting the national unity and also diversity bringing together. Is our constitution really able to really bring us together and address? We feel that we are part of these countries, that different constitutions in Africa.
Which constitution?
Has it been able to capture and balance the unity with national diversity?
What constitution?
Our Kenyan constitution, for example.
Where is it?
Promulgated in 2010. Thank you very much.
The constitution of 2010.
Yes.
Of Kenya brings more misery. There are some sections that are good. 3/4 is good, but a quarter again affects quite a lot on 3/4. For example, if you talk about, look here, my sister, talk about surely, no, surely,
Yes.
tell me, Katonda wang, you talk about the governors.
Yes.
Why have you Kenyans given governors to become political warlords? You have seen Waititu, he's a political warlord. You have seen Obado, political warlord. Nanok,
I thought we would start with Soko. Oh, he's not.
even Sonko is now dressed like a general, imitating commander-in-chief. We are creating political warlords that could bring a disorder and dismembering of this state, beginning from Maraga to the type of Sonkos and the Pasaris we have, to the type of those who are power-hungry maniacs, who want power, singing power, drinking power, eating power, all the time, celebrating power. We are creating a dangerous state here, not only in Kenya, in Africa. The entire Africa has got that problem. So, regime changes. Look at what has happened in Khartoum. Are some people not regretting why they removed Bashir?
You think there's some people?
Yes. There are people regretting. Who wants airplane? I was telling you here last week that a plane was going to be cancelled. Kenyan Airways cancelled the plane.
Yeah, everybody's cancelled. And the UK has closed down its embassy in Khartoum.
In Khartoum.
Latest, yes.
We are moving towards Iran. These men were funded. I told you, the men were funded, equipped, logistically, given money from Jamena. Their money is not ending away. Why are demonstrators not going away? Who is paying the rent for demonstrators for 4 months? Answer me.
5 now.
5 months. Answer me. Tell me.
They're not homeowners.
They are not homeowners.
Okay.
The lumpenis that you see on the streets of Khartoum, can they own a home? Who is funding the regime change in Khartoum? That is when you can know constitutionalism in Africa is breaking down. It's gone. Uganda is on the edge. 2021, as soon as Museveni wins the election, which is going to win by midday, I don't need to take part in such an election. Because he's going to win by midday. They have already gerrymandered the situation. It's gerrymandered. Elections in Uganda are not won by ballot, by stuffing of ballots. No, They are won by gerrymandering system, which none of the leaders, even this man, Kawempe man, this singing power, he hasn't seen the gerrymandering trick that is used to win elections in Uganda. Constituencies are cut according to your pocket. The hamburger eating men like Matanga and the rest of us who have been to London or Toronto or New York, we are left in Kampala. We shall remove the government. We need you to work at it. Museveni commands his support from the rural area. For us, hamburger eating men go to these rural areas like Lakunule. Like Lakunule in the Lion and the Jewel that have come for votes. 3/4 of the Ugandan community in the rural areas support Museveni. May God bless you.
And during, the clamor for new constitutionalism, of course, it happened so much in the early 1990s, and mostly because it was being filled by the need for democracy, because at that time in the early 90s and late 80s, and a lot of African countries, there was just a single party rule, and so one party regimes, and people were tired for it. So the call for constitution at that time was for democracy. But after we've seen that a lot of African countries have become democratic, is the constitution serving in other areas, or is it failing us in other areas? Or what is the problem that why there's been a lot of constitutional cause even in a lot of African countries? We are not really following the constitution. Allow me to quote Maraga. He said, we only implement it when it suits us.
He only also, Maraga does one thing. Maraga only decides when an NGO is not touched. That's how he decided the case. I'm returning it to him. Let him also know. Zipporah Chiguta says.
Who is this?
Who is this? This is Dr. Matanga, Zipporah. Do you have any problem with him?
Chiguta, thank you for joining us this afternoon. But now, after the constitution, the need for constitution in the 90s.
Is Chiguta a Ugandan or a Kenyan?
Chiguta, that's Kenyan.
That's a Kenyan.
Yes.
The man talking here is a global citizen who is taking Miriam to Kampala.
Okay. I'll include that. I'd forgotten that part. Nonchuku, you're watching from Gambia. Thank you so much for joining us. But what is it that the constitution, is it working for Africa?
If it's working from Gambia, tell him they owe me. I overthrew Yahya on my radio and the television station. They have never even said thank you to me.
Tell him he's
Tell him. They did not even send 10p.
But Nonchuku, Frankfurt, maybe he's from Ambazonia. I don't know.
No, he said he's watching from Gambia.
He could be an Ambazonian in Gambia. Remember, a lot of them have been forced to leave abroad.
He can pass the message.
To who?
Adama Barrow.
Oh, Adama Barrow, not Fatou Bensouda.
Fatou Bensouda and Matanga, if you put us in one house,
yes, it will be.
We shall produce several other children.
Okay. Right.
That are made of plastic, iron, zinc.
You didn't have to put that picture in my head, so now I can't even move forward. But
no, madam, iron, zinc. They are produced by men and women who don't like each other.
We don't need that for the world.
Yes.
We don't need that for the sake of world peace.
Hitler was produced by a very difficult mother. And I'm not Hitler. I speak the truth. Maraga is spoiling this country. The earlier Kenyans censor Maraga, get him out, let him retire, let him now stand as a president when he has retired. There's nothing stopping him to join politics. Because in Kenya there's no term limit. But you cannot have a chief justice going to accuse a country in a foreign colonial master in presence of regime changers who want to overthrow the government of Uhuru Kenyatta. That's my position. God bless you. God bless Africa. I thank you very much. Hand you over to you, Madam.
Okay, I think we are about done, and thank you, Mazi.
Yeah, you are the owner of the show.
Mahakwe, saying you're watching us from Doha, Qatar this morning. How is the preparations for the World Cup? I won something here, so I'll be in Qatar for the World Cup, courtesy of. So I'll be there. So how are the preparations in Doha in regards to the World Cup?
You'll be where?
In Qatar, Doha. You're not getting out of that now.
No, I'm not. I am not a man who breaks agreements.
All right, except with Fatu.
And I don't reveal my agreements like a song.
Okay.
That's the word you wanted.
We cannot go
keep
the song.
something.
We cannot go the song.
You can't do things with a lady, then you go and expose. My shot this afternoon.
So you agree he was not on the
yes.
He was not
there are certain things unafanya usizungumze.
A gentleman.
Even Jesus could feel that his dress was touched. But he didn't come out.
We cannot bring that.
He said my energy,
my virtue has left.
Someone came out to say it is me.
Yes, someone touched me. But the touch is different.
Leave people to find out.
Yes.
I'm teaching you.
Yeah, Bishop.
Leave people.
Bishop
Matsanga.
Yes,
from
right.
Bishop Taka College Mukono.
Introducing the bishop now.
Yes. Leave people to say, I think that lady is up to something. But don't give them everything. Even what you have done. Jesus knew. He had the power to say, it is you who has touched my dress. That's why my power went. But he said, I feel something.
The power left
out of me.
Yes.
Why doesn't Sonko just feel the power left out of him?
He felt the money leave. But there was a conversation before the money left. That was in private.
It also brings problems of integrity
yes.
of women. What type of woman is this who talks about money all the time? My woman talking about money kila siku walai. Tunawachana. This lady talks about money all the time.
It was just one time.
No, everywhere. You saw the temple Sonko played last night.
I didn't watch.
Another one.
I did not watch the show.
Another one. She's honest. So they have been using Baba's name to eat.
Doctor.
3
p.m.
They have been using Raila's name to eat. Can you see? We now infringe ourselves into a catastrophe, a cannot pay.
We put ourselves in compromising situations.
Yes, have you seen? Mzee Raila's name has been used for eating. Oh, the Prime Minister, the Baba trusts me so much, my food. Trust you how? Me niambia Baba, you know one of the things why I disagree with that Baba? Udeo niseme.
Not that Baba, just Baba.
Mzee Baba ule.
Yes.
Is because he brought Wetangula. I told Baba in the sauna that you have brought a baggage.
Sorry, where?
In sauna, we were in sauna in Kempisk. We go to sauna and the jacuzzi and in the gym.
Together?
Yes.
In sauna together?
Of course, sauna is...
I'm just used to... Okay, because I'm...
Sauna, jacuzzi.
Together.
Baba goes there, used to go there for massage. There is Vietnamese.
They're very good in massage.
Massage. And at our age, I also go there. We met there in the sitting room. The sitting.
They don't have like private cubicles.
They have private, of course, but there's a general place where there are beds.
Why do I want to sit at a general place when I'm Baba?
No, but everybody there, even Obama
sits at the general.
Remember, yes, I'm the only man who remained in the hotel when Obama was here. Where? Did you know the chef, the black chef who came with Obama comes from my county, Bududa. Don't joke, man. Why? I'm the only man who remained there. Obama, everybody sits there with the hey, there's nothing wrong. It's a sauna. Uko na towel, unafunga. Sisi tuko na watoto.
Yes.
Baba ako na mtoto na watoto wengi, mimi niko na watoto wengi.
You can have conversations freely.
Yes.
Yes.
So none of us can be doubted on us.
So during that wonderful moment, you
I told him.
Cautioned him.
I cautioned him, you have carried Wetangula is a thief. Mwizi.
Maybe he didn't hear you because
he had. I said
he was enjoying the massage.
I said part of the problem that is going to cause you problem and you lose election.
Yes.
Is Moses Wetangula. Is a luggage. Baggage. Moses cannot call 200 people in a rally. So why do I carry him? I carry people with value.
Bonnie Halwale can do that for him, no?
Can anybody? I hear the deputy president is using Halwale. Halwale is bad luck. It's like a leprosy. Have you ever heard of leprosy?
In the olden days.
Halwale, Kofi Annan, they have similar things.
Traits.
Bad luck. Anybody using Halwale, the party sinks. So the earlier you dump him, the better. There are better people in that Luya land. Halwale, a doctor who has never healed, he was in one patient. At least me, a doctor without a clinic. I talk and the people believe in me. I won the case in the ICC. Ha! Hallelujah! I won another one. I put another one in northern Uganda. I finished. Hallelujah! Let's go. I won several cases. The Harare, who show me how many. That one patient said Harare cut my throat, my stomach, and I'm healed.
But he's not. Is he a surgeon?
Is it, whatever.
He's a general doctor.
You don't even know.
He's a general doctor.
Doctor General what?
He's not a surgeon.
Of doing first aid. He can't bring a human being back.
First aid and ETC.
Maybe a gynecologist.
A who?
Yes.
A gynecologist?
Yes.
I don't need that to be my gynecologist. That is very serious. Don't even do that.
I thought so.
Don't play with that. That's very important.
Now you are talking, Miriam.
Now we need to go.
Now we are talking.
We'll see you at
So I am bringing these things so that you know. We have killed this nation. If you allow a chief justice like this without people telling him, we are dead.
And if you allow such gynecologists, then we have a problem.
To walk around.
We'll have a crisis.
A crisis, indeed.
I'm just joking, allegedly.
Take it from me.
We'll see you.
Don't forget coming at 3 p.m. Interesting.
Yes.
Do we have morals? Do public officers in Africa have morals? I think change it to that. Do public officers in Africa have morals? If your car was found in the Red District of London, you resign. What was it doing at night? Yes. Mira, you remember that minister of Conservative? He resigned.
So we look at that versus
that aspect.
Other leaders in the world.
Yes.
How, yes.
One small thing, a train derails, kills 2 people. The Minister of Transport resigns.
Even in Egypt, resigned.
Let's go. Here.
Because
if it came to Kenya, yes, everybody will not be in the office.
I'd rather die. We have that mentality.
Yes.
I'd rather die
Kimunya.
than resign. Yes. It's called
Mr. Kimunya.
I'd rather die mentality.
The Minister of Finance. I will not resign.
I'd rather die than resign, yes.
Yes. So does Africa have public officers? Do public officers in Africa have morals? What has happened to our chapter 6? Where did it go? That's the discussion.
Yes.
And plus we shall play very nice clips.
Okay, so I'll just stick to the Constitution, chapter 6, and then.
Yet we play clips, example use.
Okay. Yes.
We are in the media.
Yes, we are.
We are not being controlled like Jeff Koinange.
What happened at Jeff Koinange yesterday? It's really trending.
It is training. Jeff Koinange was literally told, get out of this.
But they producer.
If I were the one, I would not go back there to work. Jeff Koinange should have his own television station.
Maybe whatever that was. Maybe whatever that was being the guest was saying was off.
Even if it is off,
the ethical.
There should have been a technique.
There's ethical
standards. Let me tell you, even if it was off, there would have been a very big, a nice way of telling Sonko to go out.
Is there a nice way of telling Sonko to do anything?
No, you say we have a technical problem.
Yes.
No, listen. People don't. You know, if you have gone to school and you have not gone to school and you stopped outside school and then you say you claim you speak English but you don't have tools of going to school, you are zero.
Did he one time say he's a gynecologist? I read, you know what, forget about it.
No, he was.
But, yes.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Mama, they should have just switched off.
Oh, yeah. And took a break and not come back.
Take a break and never come back.
That's what they did, I think. I hear from.
No, they didn't do that.
It was just off.
Yeah, the man came and even got documents from Sonko by force now. Bring this paper, bring this one, bring that one. Hey! Mimi nawaambia nyenye, tuko na shida.
All right, so for that and more, we'll see our viewers at 3 p.m.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so thank you so much for your valued company this day. We're just coming to an end of our Good Morning Africa show, but we'll be back at 3 p.m. and the topic we'll be looking at, do African leaders have the moral fabric? Do we even care? Is that even a yardstick we look at when we're electing our leaders? And do we even hold them accountable? Or do we even have expectations for them to hold some of these moral values in terms of when they're holding these public offices? Do we even care how they behave? I mean, it's not just the Nairobi governor, but also just across board Africa. So that is something that we'll be looking at 3 p.m. So hopefully you can join us then. But for me and Dr. Matsanga right now, we'll just say our byes for now.
Thank you.